Expected. Hello, everyone. Everything about this is unexpected. I did not expect to be streaming today. I didn't think there'd be a trailer today. I thought it was tomorrow. Wow. Yeah, come on in, everybody. Please let me know if everything is working. I can't really see if it is or isn't yet. We'll see. Oh. We may be good. We may be working. I think I might be live. I might be on the internet. Oh, I am. Sorry, the audio started playing from my phone, so you could hear me from two places. Hey, everybody, House of the Dragon Season 2, how about that? File in, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else. Oh my god. So, for those of you who might not know exactly what has happened today, so I think the thought was that there was going to be a new trailer tomorrow, because there's this, conference where Max is going to be showing a bunch of stuff to investors, or whatever, all the business stuff. But today, early in the morning, a version of the final trailer for House of the Dragon Season 2 leaked online. I may or may not have seen that. I would never break copyright in such a way. But a official version was released just less than an hour, or maybe an hour ago, I'm not sure. But man, there's a lot of stuff in here. I am so excited to go through this with all of you. It's beefy too. It's 2 whole minutes. That's a lot of trailer. Yeah, like the video if you enjoy this. Subscribe to the channel. This I did like the trailer because I want to support HBO. I do kind of like this show a little bit. In terms of spoilers, I'm not sure. You guys can do what you want in chat, but I'm going to be trying to keep it spoiler light on my end until the very end of this stream, as there is a fairly substantial leak that seems pretty interesting that I kind of want to discuss and get people's takes on, but I will save that for the very end of the video. I'm sure if you've been on Twitter, you know what that leak is. So I've actually not really done much in the way of actually reacting to or analyzing trailers themselves with having the trailer here, so I'm just going to play it and see how it goes. I'll lower the volume. Yeah, actually, I'll leave the volume half on. Let me know if it's too loud or too soft or whatever else. This is my first rodeo in terms of playing YouTube videos on a stream. Yeah, Aegon's crown and helmet looks really cool, but he looks a little doofy in his armor. We'll get there.
The Targaryen who sits the Iron Throne.
So that was an interesting shot. So looking at this, the very beginning here, this pretty obviously has different lighting than this dream. I think this is Aemond. We know that from the first trailer. We see him looking up at it, and this dark, stormy lighting is the same. This looks different. And the back of this person's head, this seems like Daemon to me, not Aemond. So flashback, or Daemon is in King's Landing. We do hear him say that at one point, but I don't think this is Aemond. His hair's too short and too messy. Aemond tends to straighten his hair, it looks like.
Targaryen who sits the Iron Throne is not...
Oh, there's ice. Gotta love ice. You guys can probably see my mouse, right? Maybe not? I don't know. But ice is on the back of Lord Cregan Stark and Jace Targaryen Valerion.
Just a
both
king
either
or a queen.
Alicent in a field. There's the interesting
the
scene
Iron
from last
Throne.
trailer. We see Alicent
It's not just a king
just
or
kind of sitting by a lake and reflecting on it or whatever. And it is interesting. We do see a lake here in the background, but she's wearing different clothes, so maybe she's just going for a bit of a stroll. It's hard to say what she might be doing. I don't think in the book we really know of her leaving King's Landing at all during the war, so who knows?
queen.
This is another interesting shot. Viserys' crown and Jaehaerys' crown on the floor, what looks to be before the Iron Throne. So we currently know that this crown is in possession of Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. She was crowned with it in the finale of Season 1, and how exactly it might get back to King's Landing and when exactly it might get back to King's Landing is up for debate. We will see. I think this is probably later on in the season, saying you can't hear the video. Okay, I'm going to keep the volume on, but fairly low on the video. I do have subtitles so we can see what is being said, because I am assuming you've hopefully seen this trailer, so... Oh, when you try to talk over it. Yeah, I'll try to keep that to a minimum. But it is interesting to see the crown back in King's Landing. It could show exactly where Rhaenyra might be heading later on in the season. Too loud. Okay, I'll adjust. This is a learning curve. Dragon over a lake and dragon eggs. I've seen people speculate on Twitter, oh, are these Daenerys' dragon eggs? They do look like the right colors. We have the black of Drogon, the gold/cream of Viserion, and the green of Rhaegal. But I don't really think it's them, because we do have a pretty solid theory as to what exactly is happening with those eggs from Fire and Blood. Oh, actually, I should tweet that I'm live streaming. I was going to do that, but I forgot. I'm going to do that, and then we will continue. Post. Good. All right. I don't know if people still use Twitter, but I figure I should at least.
They are a protector of the realm.
Apparently, the Entertainment Weekly shoot just came out as well. What a busy day. Jesus. We have people reaching out for someone. If I had to guess, this is the scene we see later on in the trailer with this kind of riot in King's Landing, which I am talking a bit about riots later on in this week with my upcoming video, which ended up a way longer than I expected. It's like 22 minutes long, so look forward to that one. But that dragon, I think it was Moondancer.
They are a protector of the realm.
Yeah, that looks like Moondancer from that little glimpse. Then we get Rhaenyra back on Dragonstone.
Now I find myself in an impossible position.
She finds herself in an impossible position. I'm really parsing that for you guys.
All hail King Aegon!
Good to see Aegon with a squad. I do like the crown seems to look a little better on him than it did last season. It seems to fit a little better. Can't hear you in the trailer. Okay, let's see.
The enemy usurped my throne.
It's interesting to see Rhaenyra with a blade here. As far as we know, she's not really involved in any battles in the books, but that might be different in the show. It is pretty fun to see this kind of typical ruler who doesn't really fight all that much wield a sword. I imagine Aegon the Conqueror was the same way, and we did see Daenerys trying to wield a sword at the very end of Game of Thrones, so I'm sure it'll be an interesting parallel to whatever Rhaenyra is doing here.
We're going to King's Landing.
So, Daemon and Rhaenys talking about going to King's Landing. This is interesting to me. Rhaenys being present does indicate something about the timeline of this that I will not go into further because I'm going spoiler light. The thought is that this season begins, this was recently officially confirmed, 10 days after the end of Season 1. During that time, Rhaenyra is searching for the corpse of Lucerys and his dragon, and we really don't know what Daemon is up to. I've seen people on Twitter speculate that this could be Daemon doing what he did in episode 10 and just kind of acting in Rhaenyra's absence, trying to just rally the cause and go straight to King's Landing to circumvent the war and maybe burn the capital. It doesn't seem likely he'll succeed in doing that, as we do see him at Harrenhal later on in the trailer. It seems like he might go there instead.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
Aegon really seems to like this knife. He's gesturing with it a lot in the trailer, and I do really like that one shot that was released as a still recently, where he's like kind of mimicking the official portrait artwork we have of Aegon from the World of Ice and Fire. It might have been before the World of Ice and Fire, but I'm not quite sure. Fun council, and I'm very excited to see how exactly Aegon's council meetings play out.
We must play the board before us.
It's interesting to see the kind of different approaches of the individuals here. We see Otto throughout this trailer continually urging kind of caution and letting things come to them. They don't really want to be seen as the aggressors, as the usurpers, as that is something they would be very vulnerable to because Rhaenyra was Viserys' named heir.
Lead cautious.
Fuck dignity. I want revenge.
I hope Aegon doesn't get me demonetized, but we'll see. So we see Aegon here wanting revenge, which is quite interesting. The last we saw him in episode 9, we didn't really have any reason for him to want revenge. We saw him take the throne. He really didn't want to against Rhaenyra because he thought it was her birthright, and then Aemon killed Luke. So it seems like between then and whenever this scene is, something might have happened that might cause Aegon to want revenge. Who knows what that might be? I certainly don't. Oh god, these horses in that castle shot just, oh my god. I am really pumped. I want to go to there. Interesting to see the Lannister forces as well. I'm not sure exactly what battle that might be depicting or where that castle might be. We'll see.
News spreads through the realm.
I love that transition of the raven into the dragon. This is Moondancer, by the way, the dragon of Baela Targaryen, Daemon's daughter, one of his twins, the one that does have a dragon. So I do really love the design of this dragon. Oh, and this castle. Oh my god. I really want to watch this show, you guys. This is... Also, I should say, if anybody has questions or things they just want to share, feel free to say it in the chat or super chat if you really want to get it seen or said.
News spreads through the realm. The great houses will come to our side.
News spreads through the realm, the great houses will come to our side. I think that's very much going to be going towards whatever Aegon is wanting revenge for. You know it, I know it. I'm not going to say it in case people don't want spoilers in this chat. But I do think that Otto is saying that whatever this is that has caused Aegon to want revenge, this thing that Rhaenyra's side has done, once the news of that spreads across the realm, the black side will be seen as this kind of dishonorable faction. And essentially, given that, they will just have a lot of support flock to them rather than to this dishonorable group. Hey, Fantasy Haven, good to see you, buddy. Oh, Rosby mentioned, I think. Yeah, Rosby's right here. Rosby's right in the middle there. That's also, I thought that was the Maryland flag. That's the Darklands. No, they were not Maryland. Stokeworth, Rosby, Darkland, these are all a bunch of Crown Land forces.
I did not think they would be so eager to die.
I did not think they would be so eager to die. My thought is that this is at Harrenhal. We see that he is there in the earlier trailer. We see that there are hints that he might go there earlier on in Season 1, and I do think that he might be referring to whatever lords might currently be holding Harrenhal. It's worth noting that the Strongs are the people who are there currently. It's unclear exactly where their loyalty might fall, as the Strongs should probably fall in with Rhaenyra, given that her 3 eldest children are half strong. But Larys, the last member and Lord of Harrenhal, is currently a member of the Green Council, so it really could go either way. He really is perfect as Daemon. I just love him. Matt Damon. This is interesting. The the Valerian ships sailing somewhere. I know we're not going to get the Battle of the Gullet this season. I'm not going to spoil what that is for people who haven't read the books, but it will be interesting to see how these ships and just various elements of Corlys's strength will be focused on this season, because I do think it needs to be kind of established earlier on before we actually get to the battles that are to come in this war.
My ships sail at your command.
Oh, that is a cool shot of Caraxes. It's good to see Corlys reaffirming his loyalty to Rhaenyra. He was kind of on the fence towards the end of Season 1, so it's good to see him fully fall in line and hopefully be able to support her to the best of his abilities. It is interesting. This trailer does focus a lot on Caraxes. It almost seems like we're going through from his perspective at various points, and it's pretty cool. I love all of the filmmaking that's gone into this is just incredible. I'm so excited.
The realm's only hope is in a leader strong enough to unite it.
Do you accept me as your queen and ruler?
Okay, hot take. I think this scene, the do you accept me as your ruler, and then this long pause, is pretty clearly just edited for the trailer. I don't think we have reason to believe that Daemon is really doubting her at this point. Where is Sunfire later in the trailer? We'll get there. But I do think that this is probably just some sleight of hand editing by the people. I think this is just, maybe he did something she didn't like, and then he's asking her, or she's asking him about it. But overall, I don't think that he's rebelling by any means. I think that's maybe played up a bit for the trailer. Yeah, see, very dramatic pause that I don't really think. That is an interesting point. It could be after a certain event that takes place that might be why Aegon wants revenge that I'm not going to refer to because I don't want to get yelled at. Oh, there he is. There he is. Sunfire the Golden. One of my favorite dragons in the entire series. It is worth noting that I'm fairly neutral in terms of which side I support, but God, the Greens just have my favorite dragons. My favorite dragons in A Song of Ice and Fire, in order, are Tessarion, Sunfire, Vhagar. Vhagar actually probably should be higher. She's kind of the reason I have a YouTube channel, but overall, man, that is a cool shot. I love the horns, and I'm just really excited to get a better look at Sunfire. Overall, I don't know, I like the design a lot. I wish the wings were a little more pink, but it's just so cool. I love how distinct all of the dragons are, and it is very much a graceful look. I do also like the focus on both Sunfire and Moondancer in both this trailer and the last trailer. I think that, Given my theorizing that Moon Dancer might be present at one certain battle that she's not in the books, I think they are building up this rivalry between the sun and the moon that very much comes to a head later on in the book. I think they're kind of establishing that earlier on rather than just having it be a one and done. So, yeah, no, I'm very excited to see that. He looks so doofy in his armor. Oh my god, he looks like a kid on the first day of kindergarten. And it very much looks like a kind of a poor man's version of Damon's armor. So, yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure he's going to do great, but I do like the addition of the crown on the armor, as you can see up there, but he really doesn't look like he's sleeping that well either. The bags under the eyes are pretty big. Yeah, no. We will see how that goes. It seems as though he's riding to some battle. Nice to see him riding over King's Landing, too. This might be some adaptation of how exactly he is crowned in the book, as after he's crowned, he kind of, instead of having that massive coronation interruption by Rhaenys, he just does laps above the city on Sunfire. So this could be his version of that. You know, he's not looking great. He's fine. You're hating. I think he looks great in other points. That was a really cool dress by Rhaenyra, though. If we're looking at the style of the two candidates here, I think it's pretty clearly in Rhaenyra's favor. This seems to be more of the battle earlier. I think, let me see. We see a sigil here of a lamp, it looks like. Let me turn up my monitor brightness so I can actually see this stuff. Oh yeah, that's a Hightower sigil. That's not a lamp. That's a lighthouse. And we see more Darkland sigils back here, and a Rosby sigil here represent. So it seems like the Greens are marching on some sort of castle. It looks to be between the forest and the bay. You can see a little bit of ocean poking through the trees there. I have a pretty solid guess as to which battle this is. It's likely Rook's Rest, but I won't go into more of the circumstances than that.
This senseless war.
I do like this shot a lot. It's the very common corridor we see in Game of Thrones, where it's like where the power is power scene takes place, I believe. But it's pretty good. I'm sad that the map won't exist in the center of that courtyard yet, but alas.
War's End.
Shall never prevail.
Not like this.
We do see a lot of shots of both Aemon and Alicent in this trailer. He is very favorite coded, and it does make sense that he would be her focus during this point because Aegon's just kind of off doing his own thing, ruling the kingdom. And at this stage, Aemon is kind of both still having an active role and still might listen to his mother, as he seems to have a bit more respect for her than Aegon does.
This senseless war's end.
Shall never prevail.
Not like this.
Not like this. It's interesting to see how exactly that might come into play. Some sort of strategy that either Aemond or Aegon or both have cooked up that Alicent is speaking against. It seems as though she's trying to continue to take this moderate path, which could be very interesting in the aftermath of certain events, specifically Blood and Cheese, but we'll see exactly how that plays out. God, the shots of Caraxes in the rain, both from this trailer and from last trailer, are just incredible. I'm pumped. This looks to be at the Sept from Season 1, the place where Alicent always said she liked to go to be with her mother. So it'll be interesting to see why she's lighting prayer candles this season.
God's love for our enemy. That makes her a fool.
My favorite dynamic from the book is Kristen and Aemon, because they're both so stupid and they just kind of feed into each other's worst tendencies, and I'm really glad that's going to be captured in the show as well. I'm very excited to see that relationship. We saw a little bit of it in the Green Council in episode 9 of season 1, but I'm just pumped to see more of it, honestly. We get our first look at Cregan Stark here. He looks really good. I think that he very much has the Stark look as it's described in the book. It's not as much present in the show, though I do think a lot of the show castings are fantastic for the Starks, but Starks are always described as having this like long face, and I think he very much has that perfectly. I do like the Stark breastplate as well, and ice on his back, of course. It's very fun to see him and Jace together. It'll be interesting to see them at the wall, because we do have shots of what looks like Jace home for Luke's funeral. So my thought as to that is maybe he goes to the Vale, returns for Luke's funeral after hearing that his brother died, and then goes north afterwards. I could very much see that. So if that were the case, I'd expect to see the Starks maybe episode 3, if I had to guess. It'll be cool to see the wall again, though. It is really, it's been a long time, and I'm excited to see it again. Specifically, I imagine a lot of the architecture at the wall is still the same, and it'll be cool to just go back to where we know from Game of Thrones. I'm pumped to see it. Pact of Ice and Fire will likely be an element here as well. I really hope we get a solid bromance here. Needs a beard. I think him not having a beard right now is pretty good. I think it's a good decision because he is young. But I think that ideally, in Quinn's perfect world, he's grown a beard by the time he comes south later on in the war towards the end for the Hour of the Wolf. I think that'll be pretty perfect if that's exactly what happens. We get Moon Dancer going across a field. This does look similar to the other shots we've seen of the Greens marching to war, so it seems like it could be Moon Dancer against the Greens at this point, at least as the earliest part of Rook's Rest. My thought is maybe Moon Dancer is kind of baited into this, and that kind of creates further conflict for Rhaenyra's side as they're pulled into this battle they might not really be in an advantageous position for. We have Kristen yelling and writing. I love the hand necklace. I talked about that on Twitter a little bit earlier as well. I think it's really cool. Tyrion had a similar one on the Blackwater, and as you know, in the books, rather than the hand pin that is so iconic to the show, they have this necklace. It's actually that necklace that Tyrion ends up strangling Shay with in the books, rather than just strangling her with like a blanket or whatever I think he does in the show. I think it's a blanket. It's been a minute since I've seen the end of season 4. I'm rewatching right now, but I'm early on in season 3, so I'm not the most up to date on that.
Enemy.
We also see Rhaenyra here looking a little upset. It's curious to see her in this state. I'm not sure if this is early on in the season and she's reacting to Luke's death, or if it's later on in the season and she's reacting to something else. It's really unclear. My guess is she's not reacting to Luke's death here because, as we've heard, the season begins 10 days after season 1. She's been looking for 10 days, and I don't think that she would be this actively crying at this point. But I think that it could be a reaction to some events that take place later on or around the halfway point in the season. From what I've heard, episode 4 might be a big battle episode, so maybe the aftermath of that might result in something that results in Rhaenyra crying. Who knows? I would never spoil things. I'm trying my best, folks.
Without, maybe fought with sword.
Aegon's having a rough time here. He looks a little, I don't know, preoccupied. I don't know. I can't really tell. I don't know what's going on with him. We haven't really seen him emote a ton so far in House of the Dragon. So far he's been kind of just aloof, relaxed, taking everything as a joke, but whatever is happening here, he seems to be taking quite seriously. I think this seems to be the aftermath of something that might happen that might want him to have revenge, which we talked about a little earlier. I think that it's very likely this is the aftermath of Blood and Cheese. Who knows, though? It's hard to tell. This could be something else. With that said, I do think it being right after Blood and Cheese is the most likely for another reason that I just remembered. But I won't share that because that would be even bigger of a spoiler. They love showing the duel of the Cargill twins. They've shown it a lot. But this is Daemon going down some hallway. The voiceover is talking about enemies within and without. So I think that each of these shots kind of show an internal conflict. We see Rhaenyra, who looks sad, upset, potentially going mad. I am trying my best. Then we have Aegon, who is just kind of distraught. It seems like he's also having some sort of internal conflict following Blood and Cheese. We see Daemon, who seems to be pretty reproachful, and that seems to be kind of unlike him as far as we've seen so far in the show. We also see the Cargills fighting somebody. I did not mean to scroll. Sorry, I hit my trackpad.
Enemy within is more.
We also see Aemond in kind of a vulnerable position like we haven't seen him before. The eye patch is off. We can see the sapphire. I was watching one of like the behind the scenes things they've released for season 2, and it's interesting to see the actor who plays Aemond without the eye patch on, with the scar on, but with a full eye there. So unclear. It seems like Aemond is taking comfort in someone. We do know that someone has been cast to play Alice Rivers, so if I had to guess, this is going to be that individual.
Hideous.
We have a hand squeezing something. This is riveting. I love this shot. Okay, this was the shot that stuck out to me the most on initially watching the trailer. Sorry for the motorcycle that is currently going down my street, but look at this shot, guys.
Swords. The enemy within is more insidious.
The going into the water and then into the boat. That's just such a... Oh my god, I love it. I hope that's a real shot in the show and not just two shots kind of stapled together for the trailer's sake. I am very excited for Alice Rivers. She's going to be awesome. He's with Helena. I mean, people have theorized that maybe there's something between him and Helena, but I'm not 100p on board with that. I think they probably have somewhat of a bond. I don't necessarily think they're like having an affair or something. We'll see in season 2, though. I could be wrong. Oh, we do have confirmation. I saw the Entertainment Weekly articles came out, like just as I was starting to set up this live stream, and we do have confirmation that this is a guy named Alan of Hull. We know him to be a bastard son of Corlys of Valerion because we see a still of them in the Entertainment Weekly thing, which I might look up after I finish with this trailer. But I love his armor, and he is someone who seems to be commanding ships here. We can see people rowing behind him, so... Alan of Hull is one of my favorite characters from the book. I am very excited to see him and his brother. We then get 3 individuals with, like, fans? Like, they're like, maybe it's fans? I don't know. Who, that is confirmed to be Alan. I don't know what the hell this is, though. If anybody has greater insight into this, I thought this was Helena for a hot second, but it's not Helena. That does not look like Helena. I don't know what this is. We'll get to Nettles in a second. There's an explanation for Nettles, but I won't spoil things right here. I have no idea what this is. I'm trying my best, but like, we've definitely seen like none of these people before, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah, I don't think so. Sarah. That's about 100 years too early for it to be Sarah. I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, I was thinking Sierra Seastar. Sarah Targaryen, daughter of Jaehaerys? We can only see half her face, but she looks way too young to be Sarah Targaryen. Could be bastard. I don't know whose bastard she would be. I don't know. I have no clue who this is. She looks somewhat familiar for some reason, but I don't think she's been in this show before. We then get a shot of Rhaena looking at something, I had to guess, in the Hills of the Vale, which could be interesting, given that we know from the book she goes to the Vale for a decent portion of the war. This also ties into a leak that I'm not going to discuss until the end of this stream, but I will discuss it, so stick around for that. People are saying Daeron. Do you guys... Yeah, I bet that's Darren. You're right. Lysine girl. Oh, I don't think so. The only reason that would come into play is Viserys II get hype, but I don't think that'll be this season. I think that's much more likely to be in season 2, personally. But yeah, no, I've no idea who that is. She's way too young to be Sarah. Could be Darren. Darren. How do you guys pronounce Daeron? I always say Daeron, but I don't know. I could be wrong on that. It would be the first time I've been wrong about anything, but I could be wrong about that. This is interesting. We can tell from the landscape behind her, it's probably the Vale. There really isn't any other area in Westeros that has such steep hills and has so many just general lack of trees, I think. Rogaire, I had thought it could be Lara Rogaire, but I doubt we're going to go to see her this season. We'll see. Could it be Sarah Snow? I don't think Sarah Snow would be blonde. That is a cool shot. I'm going to go back to see that. Look at that. Oh my god. If I could pick a different thumbnail for this video, I think it would probably be that. That is so cool. Oh my god. This is Rhaena's sister, Bela, on her dragon, Moondancer. In the first season, we saw Rhaena kind of very insecure about the fact that her sister was able to hatch a dragon, but she was not able to. And we may see further development of that plotline in Season 2. That is all I'll say. But we do see that Bela's dragon, Moondancer, is large enough to fight at this point, though still fairly small, given the... I think she's around the same age as Luke, so if I had to guess, Moondancer is around the same size as Arax was before getting chopped in half. That is confirmed to be Moondancer. I did see some interesting concept art of Moondancer that they released in a book for Season 1 of House of the Dragon. I thought it was pretty cool. I think they said that like they tried to base the design on like a cat, and as a cat person, I'm excited to see that. But yeah, no, it's interesting to think that maybe we would have gotten her in Season 1, but maybe something happened, or they just cut a scene or something, or they didn't want to model another dragon. Who knows? The wings are really cool. They've got like those little spikes on the end. I love the crest on the head as well. It's like a little crown. And I do see Moondancer and Sunfire don't look dissimilar, and I like that quite a bit. We then see fire hitting this cart. It very much seems to resemble the Battle of the King's Road in Game of Thrones. But it doesn't seem like this fire is coming from Moondancer. It seems a little too big. Like the area of that fire seems a little big to be caused by a dragon that small. I think that if that's coming from somebody, it's probably a bigger dragon. If I had to guess, maybe Vhagar, maybe Caraxes, maybe Meraxes. Meraxes, no, that Meraxes is long dead. Who am I thinking of? Meleys is who I'm thinking of, the Red Queen. I was just thinking because the dinosaur was recently discussed on Martin's blog.
There is more than one way.
There's more than one way to win a war. It's fun to see Mysaria back in action again. We don't know where she is. We see a shot of her. We see a shot of her on Dragonstone in the last trailer, I think in the Black trailer. But it's unclear exactly where she is here. I would guess she's in Dragonstone, but she could be in King's Landing. We know that she's a spy master. She's known as the White Worm, and she could be suggesting some sort of underhanded tactic to either win the war or just get vengeance for Luke's death. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. I will also say her accent seems a lot better this season. I think she's very good in this trailer, so I'm excited to see it. I think that overall last season, she wasn't in that many episodes, and I can understand her accent being a little bit here and there, you know. Tywin energy. There is more than one way
To fight a war.
So we saw that shot earlier on in the trailer. I'm going to go back. Sorry for going back so much.
There is more than one way to fight.
This corridor, I think, is the same one we see Alicent in earlier on in the trailer. This is within the Red Keep. It's that corridor where we see power is power happen and a number of other things. It looks like some sort of nefarious figure might be going through there to do something. Perhaps, I don't know, make some cheese? Spill some blood? We will see.
Fight a war.
We see an exchange of coins here. It's unclear exactly where. The background makes it look like this is like around the ocean. So maybe pirates? I don't know. Hard to tell. We then see someone and someone else doing something. I think, is that Rhaenyra or is that Helena? I think it's Rhaenyra. It's hard to tell. The ring might be more telling than anything else. I think it might be Rhaenyra and Daemon, but it's hard to say. I think it's Rhaenyra. That looks like Rhaenyra, but who knows? We then see a knife and then a bunch of people outside. Ooh, my favorite observation I made from this trailer is coming up, and I made it like the first viewing, and I was pretty proud of it.
There's more than one way.
Stop saying that people we don't know who it is Daeron. It's not Daeron, unfortunately.
To fight a war.
damn it, I missed it again. Hold on,
There
sorry.
is
I
more
will
than
get
one
this
way
shot with the knife.
to fight a war.
There we go. Okay, so we have a shot with a knife. We see a hand and then a hand with rings. So it's unclear exactly what this is. When I first saw this trailer, I thought this was like the knife, the ice and fire knife. But it's clearly not. This is just some knife that will likely be used for blood and cheese. We will see. Where is Daeron? That's a good question. We don't have any official casting for Daeron, so either I think he's going to be very late in this season and is not going to really do a ton, or he's just not going to be present until season 3. We will see, though. It's hard to say. It's Alice Rivers. They changed her hair color. That could be it. That could be the other side of the Aemond scene that we saw from earlier on in the trailer, where he's just chilling out with somebody. We then see what looks to be a riot of some sort. If only someone was making a video talking about every riot in Game of Thrones history. That would be really cool and interesting and would be great. But I will note, this specific riot that seems to be occurring does not occur in the books, so it will not be included in my video on riots, but maybe I'll do an amendment to it once this episode comes out. But it does look like the small folk are upset about something, but it's unclear exactly what it might be. We do see that the gold clerks are defending someone, and we do see it is the Greens. This is an important shot because we see the continuation of this riot from the previous shot, and look to the right. Anybody recognize who that is? Anybody remember my tweet about it? It is Harold Westerling, I think. I think. It's not confirmed, but like it looks exactly like him. It seems like he might still be in King's Landing and might still be serving the Greens, which is pretty different from what I expected. I kind of expected him to be defecting to Rhaenyra's side as he was her sworn sword for a long time, but it's interesting to see him continuing to fight for the Greens after leaving the Green Council. So, I don't know. I wasn't sure. I'm excited to see more of him. I liked the actor a lot, and given that my cat's name is Harold, I'm always in favor of a Harold in a show. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what he does in the second season. It'll be interesting to see, especially if there is some change of hands at King's Landing, see exactly how he responds to it, and see exactly what his reasoning is for continuing to side with the Greens, despite what they did to Rhaenyra and to Luke. It looks like Aegon's ring. That's true, but it could also be Aemon's ring. We also see Helena running from the mob here. It seems like the Gold Cloaks are mostly stopping people, but we do see a guy in the middle who seems to be getting through, so we'll see exactly how this ends up going. It's interesting to see, because in the books, any instance we see of the small folk being unhappy with this war, specifically in King's Landing, that unhappiness is aimed specifically towards Rhaenyra and towards her faction. It's interesting to see it spread to both sides in this instance, as the masses might just be upset because of the idea of war, but honestly, it's unclear exactly why they would be, because this seems to be at a funeral in response to something that's going to happen fairly early on in the season. It makes sense that the peasantry would be upset, like if a war had been being fought for a while and they were starving, but if this is just at the outset of the war, I'm not quite sure what it is and what's the reason for it. It'll be interesting to see exactly what is going on here. We then see Kristen riding again. I think this is Kristen. The helmet looks the same, and it looks to be that same battle from earlier on where we saw him riding into with all of the Crownland forces. But we do see now it is covered in smoke and ash, and a lot of the grass looks trampled and burned. So it seems as though this battle will involve dragons. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, if I had to guess, this is the latter half or aftermath of what is known as the Battle of Rook's Rest, which certain sources have indicated will happen around the episode 4 mark of the season. So that's about how long you have to wait for the first battle of the season. Yeah, we saw this shot in the other trailer as well. It's just somebody riding into battle through this chaos. These ones we didn't see, of like an explosion happening as well. Oh, and now I can turn perfectly to the knife shot. Oh my god. Yeah, there's an explosion here. This guy looks really happy. Interesting to see what the explosion is, because if this were dragon fire, it would probably be like red or fire in the shot. But I think that it doesn't look like it's fire. So it looks like maybe there's something else happening here. My thought is like maybe there's some kind of large impact, something hitting the ground very hard, perhaps, because we see flecks of earth coming out as well. It seems like maybe a dragon impacts the ground and is creating this massive kind of shockwave that is throwing soldiers back and probably crushing some, as we did see one soldier get crushed by a dragon in episode 3 of the first season when Daemon landed on the beach. It's very, very interesting. We can recognize this dragon from the last season, from coming up through a certain floor/ceiling, that being Meleys, the Red Queen, and her rider, Rhaenys, the queen who never was. Yeah, those poor Hightower soldiers. It could be catapults. That's a great point. It could be catapults. I forgot that those existed. But with that said, given that we know that they're Hightower soldiers and they seem to be attacking this castle, I'm unsure that the catapults would be coming out of the castle. Yeah, we see the same castle from earlier on that the green forces were riding towards, so it seems as though this is all one battle. We seem to see that the green forces of the Crownlands with Kristen are in battle against Moondancer and against Meleys, the Red Queen. This seems to be the Battle of Rook's Rest, which we'll learn a lot more about when it happens. I'm sure I'll make videos about it. But it is fun to see these dragons in action. We can see her flying over that castle and over the landscape before another shot of her swooping towards something, or maybe biting down on something. Looks kind of weird. Like, doesn't look like she has teeth here. Like, am I crazy for that? Does it not look like this? Do dragons have teeth normally? Have we seen dragon teeth before? We have, because Balerion's skull has a bunch of really prominent teeth in it in the basement of King's Landing. And the basement of the Red Keep is what I actually meant. So, unclear as to whether or not dragons actually have teeth, but man, these dragons look good. I love the design of Meleys. The spiky neck specifically as something that is pretty unique to this dragon is pretty cool. You can see why she'd be called the Red Queen, as these spikes kind of make a crown. And then we see Aemond with fire. So it seems like Aemond is in combat against some other dragon, though it's unclear exactly which dragon this is. We've seen Vhagar respond to being blasted with fire before, and we saw how that went for Luke. So overall, it seems like this might be bad for whoever's blasting fire at Aemond, should they not kill him. It's good that he's wearing all leather, though. Being as edgy as he is has its perks, given that it's less flammable than typical cloth. Retractable teeth would be interesting, but I don't know. We then see Grandma herself breathing fire, which I don't know if we've actually seen much of. We saw her kill Laena with fire in the first season, but we've never actually seen I almost said Vermax or Vermithor. No, Vhagar, too many V dragon names, use fire in battle. So it's awesome. Ooh, somebody in the chat saying Rhaenys had a whip, which is really cool. In the books, whips are typically used for kind of controlling dragons. We see Daenerys do it in A Dance with Dragons. We see Quentin attempt, fail, and die doing it in that same book. But it is cool to see that these methods of controlling the dragons are actually pretty varied between riders. It makes sense that in a battle situation you would want to have something like that, a way to quickly control a dragon and just enforce your will no matter what, rather than anything else. It's so cool that you can actually see the gland in this shot that is producing the flame in the mouth. God, Vhagar is so cool. Look at the little neck flap she's got. This is awesome. Vhagar, I think, might be my favorite dragon. She, like I said earlier in the stream, is kind of the reason I have a channel. She was the subject of the video that I think is still my most viewed, so I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of Aemond, so we'll see how this battle goes. It's unclear as to whether or not this is the same battle or a different one. I know the answer is someone who's read the books, but I'm not going to say it, but there is no indication as to who exactly she's fighting, other than these shots of Meleys right beforehand, but those could be cut from a different battle entirely.
War is coming,
War is coming. Who'da thunk?
and neither of us may win.
And then we get this shot, which I absolutely love. We have Rhaenyra in front of a massive dragon that should seem at least a little familiar. That dragon, I think, I'm like 98% sure, is the dragon Vermithor, the dragon of old King Jaehaerys, who has been riderless for a very long time. As we heard at the end of Season 1 of House of the Dragon, they seem to be trying to get riders to claim these unclaimed dragons, and Vermithor is probably the most important unclaimed dragon. He's the second biggest dragon in the world, other than Vhagar, as he is, I think at this stage, well over 100 years old. I'm not sure exactly how old. We don't have exactly that, but man, I'm excited to see him. It's cool to see another older dragon's design other than Vhagar, and one that is still old and massive, but not necessarily decaying as Vhagar seems to be. It doesn't look like he has as many like droopy bits as Vhagar does, but he is still old and massive. Like, compare her size to like how big she was in front of the skull of Balerion, and I think you'll see that Vhagar and Vermithor are like massive comparatively. Somebody in the chat asks, no cannibal. We haven't seen the cannibal in any trailer, but it's unclear as to whether or not the cannibal will be featured in this season as a whole. I'm going to take a look. Let me see. I think there's a little more to the trailer. Cannibal never comes into the story. Cannibal, so in the books, this isn't necessarily a spoiler because it doesn't really get involved with the story at all, but in the books, a number of individuals try to claim the cannibal, and all of them, surprisingly, get eaten. So we'll see if they end up doing that. I do hope they include him. I'd be really excited to see the design of the cannibal. But that is an interesting point that the horns are kind of like eyebrows, Cat, in the chat. That's I do like that. Let's see. Cannibal is necessary. Targaryen sigil. House of the Dragon, June 16th. Not less than a month. About a month? About a month. Today's like the 14th, I think. I am so excited for this. Let me see if I can find the Entertainment Weekly stuff, because they just released a lot of new stuff for House of the Dragon. Oh, look at this. Oh no, I'm getting ads. Sorry for the ads, people, but it's a chess theme. Fancy. Oh, I do not want notifications from EU.com. This is cool. I will read this later, but it's cool to see all this. And I think they had an article earlier. Yeah, here we go. Actual shots of Jace and Cregan. I can't remember Cregan's name for some reason. On the wall. It's so cool to see just being back at the wall after so long. I'm so excited. We see ice there as well, which is neat because it's completely melted down in the main series for most of the seasons that run there. But man, I am hoping for a bromance of the centuries here, folks. I am hoping for. We don't need Sarah Snow. We just need the two of them. I'm excited. I really hope that the relationship between the two of these individuals is really shown to its fullest potential. This does seem to indicate that he'll spend more time in the north than he did in the book. In the book, he just goes to Winterfell and then comes back. There's no talk of him going to the Wall. So this could show that his voyage is maybe extended a little bit. Maybe it's 2 episodes instead of just 1, which I would really appreciate because Cregan is not in the show a ton other than that. God, they both look so Jon Snow in this, especially Jace. Like, come on. Let's see. Yeah, here's the shot I was talking about earlier as well. We have Corlys, who seems to be still a little worse for wear given his injuries last season. He's walking with a cane still. And Alan of Hull, his bastard son. I really like the casting here. They look very similar, but I do think that it'll be interesting to see this relationship develop a little bit, as in the books, we don't really get much insight into a bunch of relationships because it is this historical text that really doesn't have a ton of insight into any individuals in particular, but actually getting to see this kind of father and estranged son on screen could be very interesting to see. I'm excited to see how that plays out in the show. This seems to be Hull, if I had to guess, which is the town that Alan and his brother Adam are from. So we'll see. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, no, I'm so excited. It's interesting that we're seeing Alan here, but not Adam, despite the fact that Adam was in the first trailer, I think. We saw him, like, looking up at sea smoke, and we saw him, assumedly, talking to Daenerys. And also, I think we saw him in the Black trailer, that dinner with all those folks, and with Hugh Hammer, the most important character. Let's see if there are any more pictures. Oh, there are... Best king ever, guys. Best king, guys. Best king. Right here. One of these two. I don't know which. I think the one with longer hair, if I had to guess. But this is Rhaenyra on Dragonstone with her 2 sons, Viserys II and Aegon, who are just the best, the greatest. Rhaenyra watches over her younger children at Dragonstone in House of the Dragon Season 2. Oh, what a great mother. But, yeah, no, it's pretty great. I'm excited to see it. That is a good point. It's interesting to see how wife Guy Corlys is going to have 2 bastards and how he's going to interact with them. I really hope that we see Rhaenys interact with either Alan or Adam or both, because I think that'd be a really fun interaction. Viserys, the new and better Viserys, the once and future Viserys, the best king in Targaryen history right there. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I don't know. I hope we get to see an adult Viserys II on screen someday. I'm not holding my breath. I don't think we will, unless they do a Blackfire Rebellion series and decide to start way in advance before Aegon IV takes the throne. But man, I am pumped. It's cool to see just little moments like this, and I hope we do get to see a little more of them, because Aegon III, at least, has a pretty interesting character arc, and he's present for a lot, and I think that making him a little bit more of a character does make sense. He does look a little younger there than I expected, though, but I guess that makes sense. Hopefully the child actors are able to knock it out of the park on this one. Let's see, the Greens. Oh, we got more shots. I haven't seen these. Oh my God, I'm so excited. This is Aegon. I don't know if you guys have seen him before. Aegon the II Targaryen. I'm very insightful, and I'm very good at what I do. But yeah, this is an Aegon who doesn't look very happy. Well, those bags are... Jesus. Yeah, he's not sleeping, it seems like, and staring into a fire, probably? I don't know. It's interesting. I think that this is very much in the aftermath of probably Blood and Cheese, so we'll see exactly how Aegon responds to it. That'll be interesting, actually, because I'm not going to say what exactly this event that I keep referring to is, but Aegon doesn't seem like he cares much about anything. Fantasy Haven says he looks plastered. I would argue we've seen him plastered before, and he didn't look this bad. He at least looked happier or bemused. I'm excited to see how they develop Aegon in Season 2. I think he's a very potentially interesting character in the books. He's a terrible person and overall just a piece of shit, but he is a super interesting character, as so many characters are in this book. I think the casting is so good. He looks both just like Rhaenyra and just like Alicent, and I'm so excited. He is giving... I don't think he's giving someone a death stare. He's giving the fire the death stare, which is interesting. We've seen characters stare into the flames in the series before, so maybe he has a vision as Melisandre does. So we'll see. The summer preview thing is, it really adds to the immersion of these shots, Summer preview, happy, and Aegon's just so sad. Oh, look at that. Oh my God. Look at the profile. Look at this man. Put this man on Mount Rushmore, if I could speak. Alicent has the same concerned look throughout all of Season 1, and it's good to see that it returns here. It's interesting to see, Alicent so clearly loves Aemond, and he seems like kind of her favorite, and it'll be interesting to see how she reacts to some of his darker decisions in this next season. Because, overall, I don't know. I don't know how she's going to respond to him accidentally killing a child who was a diplomat, so we'll see how that goes. But also, if I had to guess, if I were a betting man, no one is going to know that it was accidental. I think that Aemond is going to steer into the skid and kind of intentionally create this villainous persona for himself. He's going to lean into being this evil figure that everyone thinks he is, as I think that he's just going to try to create this mask and hide behind it, as he does seem to have these deeper emotions of regret that we really see in that one shot in the trailer where he is just kind of laying with his eye patch off, head in some lap. I imagine maybe the eye patch kind of could represent him hiding his true self, hiding the sapphire within, and kind of hiding any vulnerability, if I was to get a little analytical on this. But I do think that Aemon's going to just try to create a mask, the quote from the one episode of the first season of The Sopranos that he sees in college. What is it? It's a quote from an author. It's one cannot wear one mask to the masses and one to themselves without becoming bewildered as to which is true. Somebody in the comments remind me of who exactly said that. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see Aemon's trajectory in the season. I think he might be the character I'm most excited to see, other than Hugh Hammer, of course. Let's see. Is there more? Unfair. The Greens got one more shot than the Blacks did. The Blacks got one more shot than the Greens did. I am excited to read all of this and actually, like, see what's going on. This is a cool behind-the-scenes shot. Ryan Condal on set for Season 2. I don't know where exactly this is. We've never really seen a location like this. I don't know where this is. My gut says, like, Flea Bottom or something. But we will see. I don't know. We don't see any characters we recognize. Though, is this? No, that's somebody with, I can see headphones. I thought that was Massaria for a second, but it's not Massaria. I am tragically mistaken. Oh man, look at this guy. What a guy. What a guy. No Tyland or Jason. Tyland was in the green trailer, I believe, and I think we can see Tyland in one shot of this one too. There's a point where we see Aegon's council, and I think he's definitely there because he's on Aegon's council. Where is it? Yeah, it's right here.
About it. Well,
yeah, Tyland is right there, I think. Wait. Is he? No, there's no Tyland in this shot. That's bizarre. There's either no Tyland or no Otto. I think that's... I'm going to go full screen. Try to figure it out. Is that Tyland or Otto on Aegon's... On the right side of the screen, closest to us? I can't decide who that is. I can't tell who that is. Is that Otto or is that Aemond? Or not Aemond, sorry, Tyland. We saw Aegon in a tavern in some sort of behind-the-scenes video posted last week. Oh, thank you, Fantasy Haven. I think that's probably right. That does look like a tavern. I'm not sure. I think that might be Tyland. The beard looks more kind of close-cropped than Otto's. And Kristen seems to be sitting in the position where we've seen Otto sit for the past 20 years, that being the seat of the hand of the king. So, interesting to see this small council meeting without Otto. Interesting. This might be a little later than I expected. Yeah, so I don't know. Do you guys think that's Otto or that's Tyland? Oh, chat is in the way. Oh, my bad. Sorry about that, folks. I forgot that chat is in that corner of the screen. I think it's Tyland. I thought it was Otto at first, but I think it's Tyland. Because Kristen Cole is in his normal seat. I know what happens, chat, but I'm not sure if this is before that happens or after that happens. So we shall see. I think this might be after that happens. So I don't know. If it's Otto, Tyland's probably just off dividing the treasury, which is very important, and I think they will need to show him doing just because of how important that is. But yeah, no. Aemond is master of ships. That's actually kind of hilarious. I do think they should make Aemond master of ships. I think Vhagar counts as a ship if we're really getting into it. It is too dark. It's dark and it's far away. I really can't tell. I'm going to zoom in. Enhance. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I think that's Otto. Enhance computer. You needed an inn. That's a good start to a campaign. I don't know. It's Beesbury, guys. Beesbury's back. He survived. We do have Ironrod here. I'm excited to see more Ironrod. Return of Beesbury. Can I unzoom? I can. I'm proud of myself. I'm so technologically literate. What ships? Vhagar counts as a ship, obviously. What else is there in this trailer that I haven't talked about? We'll see. I love this shot of King's Landing. Like, look at that. Oh my god. That's beautiful. Like, I'm excited. Oh, he looks happy. Let's see. So this is more of the forest. Otto here. We do see this conversation a couple times in either trailer. But in this conversation, we see that it's not just Aegon talking, because in the previous trailer, it seemed like it was just Aegon there. We see that it's both Aegon and Kristen talking to Otto. So we'll see how that goes. We also later see Otto walking away from that conversation in the green trailer. So, you know, we do need Mushroom. I'm upset that there's no Mushroom in these trailers. We have Orwell, but we need Mushroom. Talk about Nettles. We'll get to Nettles in a minute here. I'll save that for the very end of the stream in case people don't want to be spoiled by a leak. But yeah, no. Let's see. I love Daemon's armor. Like, compare Daemon's armor to, like, Aegon's armor. Aegon's armor is not... It's not the best. Like, it looks like it's trying to be Daemon's armor, but not really doing it very well. King's Landing should be red, not beige. I think that was pretty red. I don't know. I thought it was just the kind of daylight that it is, but who knows? It could be filters to some degree, but I don't know. Hopefully it's not too like filtered or gradiented or like whatever, but that has been an issue in a few shows. Like I did just talk about The Sopranos, but to talk about The Sopranos again, season 5 of The Sopranos has like this super weird dark filter over all of it, and I hope that House of the Dragon doesn't go the same way. Yeah. I wonder what metal this is on the armor. It seems to be the same as the crown, but I will say the crown is something that's a little controversial. I've heard people on Twitter like have issues with the crown, but people on Twitter have issues with everything. I do think it could be a little cooler. I think maybe there could be some more rubies, but overall, as the Crown of the Conqueror, it seems very efficient. It seems very warlike, and that seems like exactly what Aegon would need when he was conquering Westeros.
This senseless war and send.
Am I the only one who always thinks the Darkland sigil looks like Maryland? Okay, so we've gone through the trailer. We've gone through Entertainment Weekly. I think it is time to do a little more discussion of some spoilery stuff and one thing specifically from a leak that came out today that I'm going to discuss because I am curious to hear everybody's thoughts on it. So if you do not want to be spoiled for Season 2 of House of the Dragon, for a change that they are making from the books, I would advise you to hop off here and just be sure to like the video, subscribe, all that other stuff. If you're staying, you can also like the video and subscribe, hint, hint. But yeah, no, we're going to discuss something that came out earlier today as well. Specifically, I'm not going to go to the leak itself. I have it in another tab, but I don't want to like risk showing something I shouldn't. Where is the shot that I'm looking for? I think it's earlier on. I'll mute it and let it play through until it gets there, but I will discuss the leak now. That being that they are making a pretty major change to the dragon seeds in the show. Specifically, we know that a character in the books named Nettles is someone who is not known to be of Targaryen birth, but is still able to claim a dragon known as Sheepstealer. However, we have heard from leaked sources, I believe the Twitter account Wake the Dragon on Twitter, that it seems like her role is going to be taken by another character that we already know. I know that people have speculated as well that Rhaena might claim a dragon based on certain foreshadowing in the first season, but it's interesting to see that that is actually going to be how it might play out. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about this, because it's interesting. I think there are benefits. I think it could very much improve Rhaena as a character. There she is. But I do love Nettles in the books, and I am kind of sad to see her go, because the whole thought of her is that, like, oh, maybe you don't need Targaryen blood in order to claim a dragon. Maybe anybody can. But I don't know. I think that it's got potential. I think it's not. My gut reaction was it's bad, but I don't know. They're not cutting Daeron. We don't know that. We just know that he might not be cast for season 2. He could still very much show up in season 3. But I don't know. Leaving out Nettles, I don't know. I feel like, you know what I think they should have done? Here's what I think they should have done, and it could have been so much better. Cut Ulf the White. Ulf the White does nothing in the story. He is just essentially a backup man, like part of Hugh Hammer's posse. He does pretty much nothing. Hugh Hammer can do what is done by both of these individuals in the story on his own and still like carry that part of the story perfectly fine. Nettles is pretty essential to certain elements, and I think that having her there as a non-Targaryen dragon rider is really cool and adds a really interesting element of just lore to them. But like Ulf the White, what does Ulf do in the books, guys? Like, I don't know. There's nothing that Ulf does that couldn't be done just by Hugh in the books. I think that it would be a lot more sensible to cut him instead of Nettles. Ulf's dragon is the real point of Ulf. Exactly. You could give Ulf's dragon to Rhaena instead of giving her Nettles, which is, I don't know. What is the final dragon? I don't know what you mean. Oh, wait, the final shot of the trailer? The final shot of the trailer is Vermithor. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do with this change. I'm not sure. I think that it could be interesting. I do think that Rhaena will benefit from this in that she really doesn't have much to do throughout the entire war. But this could give her much more of a role and have her much more involved. But I don't know. It also takes away mourning, which is another important element of the war. I don't know what they're going to do with that. Yeah, like, who hatches mourning if not Rhaena? There really aren't any other characters who could. I don't know. Daeron, I still have hope for. I don't think they're cutting Daeron. But, I mean, I've seen no indication that they are. I think that this season is just focusing much more on the eastern coast of Westeros, and I think that having Daeron might kind of shift the focus in a way that they really didn't want to do, and given that it's only 8 episodes, I could see them making some sense of that. I'm not giving up hope on Daeron yet, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic on this. I think that I don't know. It could be good. We will see. If Silverwing goes to Rhaena, it wouldn't make sense how the dragons die off. That's true. That's a good point. I don't know. Or Silverwing could go feral after Vermithor dies. Maybe Vermithor dies and she just loses all bond and goes off on her own. If they cut the Muppet Tullys, I'm going to riot. I agree. That's the real cut that matters. But I am very curious to see exactly how that plays out, how it's going to go without Nettles in season 2 and in the future House of the Dragon. It'll be very interesting to see. I will say, I'm not going to let that overshadow how awesome this trailer is and how much I am looking forward to seeing all of this play out. Oh my God, I'm so excited. What do you all think is like the coolest part of it? What's your favorite part of this trailer? What are you most excited to see in season 2? Because there's a lot. There are some cool dragon shots too. So I was kind of hesitant with them like saving Sunfire for season 2, but I think that having both Sunfire and Moondancer appear in season 2 for the first time is a pretty cool concept, and I think that having those two dragons be this mirror image and have this sort of almost rivalry between them is pretty cool. I'm excited to see it. I see you in the chat, Fantasy Haven. There will be Muppet Tullys, mark my words. There's nothing we can do to stop the Muppet Tullys. Which I think, will we see the Muppet Tullys this season? Would they come into effect at this stage in the story? I don't know. Maybe if they show Daemon stopping over at River Run, but it's unclear if they do that or if they just go straight to Harrenhal. Man, there's a lot. I'm really excited. I still think my prediction on where the season is going to end is probably going to hold. I think it's probably going to end. I won't say where it's going to end, but I think it's still going to end where I've said it's going to end in the past. So I'm not going to say. What battles do you think we're going to get this season? If I had to guess, the main battle we're getting is Rook's Rest. I don't know if we're going to get much beyond that, but we will see. There has to be Nettles because her relationship with Daemon is what drives Rhaenyra mad. That is interesting. I don't know what would do that in its place, so I'm really curious to see how that does. They were mentioned in season 1. Who was? Oh, the Muppet Tullys. Yeah, you're right. So they've confirmed that they are cutting one major battle from season 2 and putting it in season 3. What I think that means is they are cutting the Battle of the Gullet and moving it to after the next event that takes place. I think the event that takes place right after the Battle of the Gullet is what's going to end the season. I'm not going to be more specific than that in case there are people who haven't seen it who are currently watching, but yeah, I will leave that there in terms of not spoiling things further. We will also get Burning Mill. I'm not sure. I think probably we'll get Burning Mill. But I also see them cutting some smaller battles. I don't know. I think Butcher's Ball is too much later, right? We're not going to get Butcher's Ball. That'd be like mid-season 3, right? Season 3 will probably have more battles. If I had to guess in terms of like what's going to happen in season 3, it'll be like start with the Gullet, then Butcher's Ball, maybe end with God's Eye or First Tumbleton. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think I've analyzed this trailer as much as one possibly could. Does anybody have any last questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas about the season? I'd love to hear before we get skedaddling. Yeah, no, first trailer did have Bracken and Blackwood stuff, so Burning Mill does seem more likely than not. I think you're right about that. I was just forgetting the exact context of that battle. I am excited to see more of the Blackens and Brackwoods. That makes no sense. Why would they move Battle of the Gullet to Season 3, but the Aftermath of the Gullet in Season 2? I think they want to reorder events a little bit, because, I mean, personally, I don't like the Battle of the Gullet. I think it really doesn't make sense, and it's just overall just kind of poorly paced. Trailer breakdown on my channel in an hour, everyone. Fantasy Haven. Whoa, somebody's trying to capitalize on my viewers. Yeah, go check out Fantasy Haven. He's the man. I will probably be there as well. We will see. I do have to edit my masterwork on Peasant Revolutions, but we shall see. Yeah, no. I am going to go cry about Nettles a little bit, but it's fine. As long as Daeron's still in it, we're fine. It's fine. Hopefully. Please. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you all for joining me, too. This has been a really fun stream. I've never really streamed in the aftermath of a trailer. I've always tried to release videos, so it's nice to have so many people here. You know, everybody is advertising in my chat. I see you all. The Eye of Sauron is watching. I'm very excited to see the Veil as well. It'll be interesting to see more of it, and based on what the leak has said, it seems like Sheepsealer might be a wild dragon in the Veil, which is quite interesting and different from other stuff we've heard in the past. We've never known a wild dragon to not live on or around Dragonstone, so that would be another divergence from the books. That would be quite interesting to see. Yeah, no. Aemon should also have armor. I think that his duster is fine. I think that it very much fits his trying to be cool vibe. So, overall, yeah, it makes sense for him, you know. It's going to be cool to see the wall, though. Yeah, well, I think that is about all I have. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back with more House of the Dragon and A Song of Ice and Fire content in the very near future. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy. It really helps me grow the channel, and it is free, so it is always appreciated, and I'll be back with more analyses and discussions and theories and whatever else I decide to make in the very near future. Thank you for joining me again. Praise Sunfire the Golden. Goodbye.